Welcome back to The Relay. It's been a while since we've done this, and we're grateful to be back with you today, and we've got a lot to catch up on. In fact, that's the title of the next episode, Catching Up. So another season is almost behind us, and there's been a lot that's happened since we've last been here. This episode's titled The Catch Up. So let's catch up. What's been going on?
Yeah, a lot and a little. Not as much changed inside the pool, but the competition was good. We had the recent provincials meet. A lot of us swam there, and we had a good contingent. And I think we did quite well individually and as a team. Got to see our old coach and our new coach, and had some great swims. I think everyone's got a few they wish they did a little bit better on, but a few that they're also proud of. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I was involved in all the provincial stuff. It was a lot of fun. Did 3 meets, I think, this year. They were great. I swam well. I was happy with the performance. It was great to see a lot of people competing this year. Basically, my life has been focused on swimming and my kids, and that's been it.
I think it went by really quick if it's a season. Like when we got in the water, early fall to, late spring is when we had provincials. It kind of just flew by. So I had a blast. So didn't do my best, but that's all right. A little bit of a shoulder injury, but those things happen.
Yeah.
It probably would have been worse had I not been working out, to be honest.
Well, let me ask you this. Goal setting. A lot of what we've been doing in the pool has been focused on consistency and goals. And I got into the habit of working out the strength training with Steve. And hopefully Steve will come and the viewers can meet him as well. 2 things that were really humbling. One was how simple body weight movements crushed me. I was really, like, doing something new had a really positive impact. And then the persistence of, I'd set a goal for myself. I said, I'm not going to drink for the entirety of 2024. No alcohol. The no alcohol challenge, but do it for a year. And it's interesting how instead of doing it for a month, just really doing it big has made it easier. So here I am halfway through and drinking Corona Zero in a red cup. And I don't really notice anything different except maybe a little more energy on the weekends. But I think the research makes me feel better about avoiding something, or just the fact that I'm doing something is having some benefits in my other parts of my life. I find hitting goals now a little bit easier. I don't think I would have gone strength training early in the morning if I hadn't been doing the challenge already. So it's almost that paradox of the more you challenge yourself, the more you can succeed.
Yeah, I'm a big goal setter. That's for sure. I find it hard to get into something unless I'm chasing something. There's a benefit to having a carpool and people convincing me to go to swimming, so that's great. But for me, the swim meets, the competitions, are something to work towards. And now, it keeps me honest, keeps me in the pool. And now I'm working towards getting into triathlons, and so I need to start running. And now I've already set a goal to run a race back in Newfoundland in October. But if I didn't have something to chase, it's harder for me to run the race or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there needs to be some goal there at the end.
Is it more fun when you do that?
It's a sense of accomplishment. Like you work really hard with swimming. You train and train and train and work really hard, and your results are tested. You get your hard work. You see the benefits of in the meet, right? I could swim races in the pool during training, but it's not the same. So yeah, that's what motivates me to do the next thing.
Well, if I can, not swimming competitively with you this year has meant I've had to find extra sources of inspiration to keep swimming, which is why I'm leaning on the whole swimming as a really preventative life insurance and things like that. And how have you felt this year? Like, you guys are swimming really fast in the pool. I know, because Friday night, you guys 3.4 kilometers, a lot of distance, flying. Could you have done that a year ago?
No, I don't. Yeah, maybe a year ago. I mean, the past couple of years, I feel like I've been swimming pretty well. It's not. It's less daunting to me this year. Last year's like, oh my god, I know this practice is going to be 3,500 meters, and I'm kind of scared, or I don't think I can do that. That doesn't enter my head. It hasn't entered my head this year. Like we did that long course practice a couple of weeks ago, and it was exciting to do it. I haven't swam a long course practice, at least not in any of my memories. But it was cool to do it. And I knew it was going to be about 4,000 meters, and none of that intimidated me. Last year, I was intimidated a bit by that. I was injured a little bit. It was kind of the first full year back since COVID. But yeah, no, that's probably the biggest change.
So there's an episode where I talked about the anxiety of competition. How did the competitions go? I didn't have any this year. I didn't compete. How was it for you this year at the meet?
From an anxiety
Or
perspective,
just any perspective, how did you enjoy the experience?
I just always enjoy the experience. I don't try to get worked up about it or worry too much about it, which might differ than some people.
He's queuing me up for the
I'm
next
queuing
one to
you
talk.
up on
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
But it's great to go. Like you see people of all ages, you see people of all abilities, really, and everyone's supported. So it's not the people who win the gold medal that are held to high esteem. It's everybody. So it's really nice that way.
Yeah, I concur. Similar to Graham, like I can have a good meet or a bad meet looking at my times, but for me, it's just about being there and enjoying the moment, being in the moment, present, and all that stuff. But also, there's a lot of times where I'll either catch up with a former friend or a friend who I haven't seen in a while, or make a new friend. Like there's several times where you're sitting behind the blocks and you look over your shoulder and it's the same person you just raced an hour ago, and you're here racing a similar event again, and I'm gonna get you this time, kind of thing. It's a tight-knit community and a very supportive community. So if you're not catching up with a friend, you're potentially making a new friend, and I'm just there to have fun. Like I do want to do well, but if I don't swim like a best time, or I have an event where I feel like I could have done something a little bit better, I don't let it ride me down. I just have a great day, and I enjoyed present company at the meet. I think it's really cool to see everybody there, and then there's always chatting about it after when you get back to practice too. Like I think it's really fun.
You set the best example for that. Like, it's smiling on the blocks. Like this guy, he stacks his swim meets. So like the hardest. What did you swim for provincials?
Yeah, like 1500 free, 400 free, 400 IM, 200 IM, 200 breaststroke. Graham's favorite event.
Just the first event alone was more meters than I swam in all the meets this year. Now, mind you, I did challenge myself a bit in provincials.
Yeah, you did really well.
But to get what Graham was pointing out, I find it very difficult to relax in competition. And I don't know what that is and why that is, but I get very stressed. You give me the ginger gummies and all those things. Those really help. I had those jitters and I still have them. And some of it's because I'm trying to reach some goal or get some time. And being that anxiety ridden it affects my race. I'm already tense, and so I'm already tired before I jump in the pool. So I've been trying to swim more with that attitude, and what worked for me in this latest meet was take on a few events that I had no set time for. They were challenging because I did 400 free, and I don't think I've ever swam 400 free. But I won't say I didn't care about the result, but I was just super chilled about it, and got on the blocks. This was 400 free. To me, that's a long distance, right? That's a lot to be, because I always hit that. I'm a sprinter, and I hit that wall, and I'm afraid of that wall, and I'm afraid to feel like that pain, and I don't know why, but This one, I just was all smiles. I jumped in, I swam relaxed, and I got out of the pool. There was like, I was chatting with the ladies that were swimming, and either laying to me, and we got out and we high-fived, and then there was this random dude came down from the stands and said, "I had to come down and tell you your race looked really good." And I'm like, "Thanks, man." And I didn't want to say, like, I didn't want to sound conceited and say I wasn't trying, but I said, "Yeah, I just swam it really relaxed. It was awesome." And I need to be more like John. That should be my next tattoo. Be like John. Be more relaxed. And then competition, I still go to all the competitions, but I need to swim next year that way, even for the races that I'm trying to, break in the minute, because I still haven't done it.
Interesting to me that, like, you acknowledge that you're anxious, right? And you're trying to figure out ways to not be anxious. So it's cool, because now you're doing these things and you're like, how do I then apply that to my anxious races?
Yeah.
Right? It's probably a huge value in that.
Or life in general, because I'm a pretty anxious dude. And my 30s were anxiety ridden, like panic attacks and stuff. And I get anxious and about stuff coming up, whether it's at work or something I have to do, or a meeting, or swimming in a pool. But I need to start applying that, like, I can do this, or I've done this before, or this is not a big deal, and go into things more relaxed, not going into them not caring, because I care. I mean, that's my greatest strength and my weakness is that it's the same thing. I care. And that's probably why I'm so anxious, because I'm afraid that things are not going to work out. But being relaxed about things, helped me perform better. So I just need to repeat that and remind myself. And I struggle with that, because every meet, even at the long course meet in Victoria, I was super stressed out. And then I swam my best races, and this guy's like, "Oh, just relax," dancing around and eating nuts and stuff. He's like, "Why are you so chill?" But anyways, I was probably long-winded, but yeah.
No, you swam well in both instances, and I think the 400 free was a great kind of like new race for you. But you also swam it very relaxed, very well, and you beat a random goal time you set for yourself.
I did,
pretty
yeah.
quickly.
I had some time I wanted to get under 5:20 or something.
But even if you reflect, like, after the race, not knowing what your time might be before having ever swam it for the first time, and then having a goal you're determined to go after, like the kind of what we're chatting about, it's hard not to set an expectation. And then when there's an expectation there, it's like, it's either a reward or a failure.
Yeah.
And if you, I don't know, this may be really dumb, but if you look at everything as a reward or as a moment, and you're working towards it, and you might not achieve the goal at that moment, but you've achieved some knowledge or some experience that will help you in pursuing that goal a little bit further. I don't know, maybe Graham's got another. What if you think about it this way? But it's one of those things where I think the more relaxed you are, the better you have swum. And even in the long course meet, you swam at best time in 50 fly, which is like normally a lot slower over a longer pool distance than your short course time should be. So just the fact that you're more relaxed allows you to accomplish more with less effort.
Well, that had a positive result to the 50 fly at provincials,
right?
Because then I beat that time, and again, that was another race that I just said, whatever, this is fun. I'm having fun. I need to lean into it, like you said. There's like master swimming it's all shapes and sizes and talents, and so and everyone's there having a great time. So there's no need to be worked up and stressed about stuff.
Well, if your anxiety decreases, say, over distance, your 1500 should be like euphoria.
Is that guy sleeping? So push him a little bit. He's so chill. Yeah, it gets to you don't even finish the race. It's like, oh, we need to go, guys. Vance is still in the pool. He's too relaxed on his 1500. I will. I'm going to swim like at least an 800 next year.
Nice.
I think distance swimming. That's another, like, maybe I'm not a sprinter anymore. Sprinting hurts. It hurts a lot. Like 50, 100, and even a 200 is really a sprint, and it hurts.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 400 didn't, because you can just get into a rhythm sprinting never allows you to get into a rhythm. It's just like all arms and legs and splashing, and you're done like 27 seconds later.
In terms of catching up, here's what I'd like to share with you as well that's been swimming related. I've been finding that the comfort level with my new routine, like even the fact that I don't go all the time, but when I do go, it's now become part of my identity within my work circles. So people will come and ask me how I was swimming, and we'll share stories, and it's a very positive conversation. So instead of sharing about what sports, which is interesting sometimes, but I'm getting to know people at a more personal level because I'm asking them about their fitness journey. Interesting. Recently, I found such a tremendous connection between organized supportive sport and the ability to accomplish difficult tasks at work better, easier, that my whole team is actually going to see Steve for personal training sessions, because that the discipline in your physical life has a direct translation to the discipline of everything else. I'll finish with this thought. I realized the other day that I kind of realized COVID and the COVID hangover, as they've been calling it, as we start to understand it, has kind of been like the blip from a Marvel movie. It's like, where did I go for a couple of years? And I feel like we're finally getting back to that sense of really good community. Because even during COVID, if you talk to somebody, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I might have breathed on you, and now you might be able to see you again because maybe you got some terrible disease or who knows what. But there was that anxiety around socializing that was really terrible. And for the first time in a long time, about a month or two ago, I really feel like that was gone. Like it was just no more. And that was a refreshing feeling.
Swimming helped. I mean, I don't disagree at all. I mean, that the COVID years, we always refer to it as like, it's just like it's hard to judge time anymore because that time was so weird between when in isolation. But yeah, swimming. It helped me get over that quicker because we got into the pool and we were in a lane with 4 or 5 people. You go with your mask on, but then you get in, and so you got to relax a little bit. When swimming, you're there, you're breathing the air, so it was kind of nice. That was a kind of a nice that helped reset things, but it's still taking a while to kind of get over that. But yeah, I enjoyed the fact that we could still swim, or we found a way, even if it was in the lake and then it ended up in the pool, but.
It's amazing how expectations informs your reality. I turned 49 a couple weeks ago. Thank you. I am feeling better today than I have in 20 years. So just the process of us getting together and even further, just talking about it, creates some sort of reflections in my brain to share what works for me. Don't tell anybody what to do. I don't want anybody to tell me what to do. But that's been a huge breakthrough for me because there's so much conflicting information. And so by just taking bits and pieces of information, a little more good, a little less bad, I'm living my best life. Like, you guys are awesome. Like, we're having a lot of fun. The fact that we haven't done this as regularly as we wanted is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's the get to do things that I now really appreciate. And so to the extent that I get to participate in a community where we have swimming and the pool's not bad. I'm not going to complain about the pool too much right now, but the environment is so overwhelmingly contrasting to what we had in COVID that any piece of that makes me joyful. So, and I don't have to go around going, I'm joyful. I hope you just sense it, because I sense it in you guys too.
It's a pretty cool thing that we got here, and just kind of play on this whole catching up thing, and kind of throw it to like getting to one practice as opposed to 3 practices a week. You get in there and nothing's changed. You caught up and everything's fine. So there's really no catching up for us. We're just picking up where we left off. And I think that's a pretty cool thing. It's not worrying about how much time has passed. We're still the same people, and we're just have a few stories to tell each other.
It's interesting how perspective changes things. Vance, you were just talking about how we actually haven't really not caught up because we see each other at least every week, but we haven't caught up in the context of the podcast.
Yep.
And so it's interesting how pausing to take inventory. Let me ask you this. Does this podcast experience, has it been something that has helped you to better reflect and enjoy life generally? Because you're actually forced to stop and reflect and given permission to share.
Yeah, I mean, the podcast it frames it really nice and gives us a goal, something to come to, and gets us together to chat. But the conversation is the most important thing. We don't need the cameras and the mics and stuff like that. It's just chatting with your buddies. That's what I get from this. So, I mean, it's great that we get to do it, and some people might benefit from this. But yeah, it's just hanging out and chatting, and we do it. We do it. We catch up in the 2 minutes before we get in the pool, and nobody talks because we're all out of breath for an hour and a half. But that 2 minutes before we're warming up, we catch up. But yeah, so the podcast is great, but this just shooting the shit with your friends is the real hook for me.
It's where my brain went with your question too. Like, but for the lights and the microphones and the technology, it's no different than we went out for dinner after that meet. I think in Chilliwack.
Yeah.
Right, sitting around a table chatting.
And then we said, this would be great. This would be a great idea for a podcast. And here we are doing it. But it was those.
What if you had a microphone in your face? Would you say the same thing?
Yeah, exactly. How many times did you say, me? A lot.
36.
You should drink every time I say It'll make for a great ending. Take us away, Graham, in the end.
Drool.
Sorry. Van said too many times.
Yeah, I'd echo the same thing. I think it's the group, it's the process of it. I've always said, like, it's great if we can share with other people and they have benefit also. To what you were saying, for me, it's the process and the enjoyment of the discussion in the moment. I try and think, if it gets to 1 million people listening, or it's like 10 and 2 of those people are my mom. I just think it's great no matter what. So if anybody finds enjoyment, that's great. But I'm also just doing it for the enjoyment of the conversation in the room and hanging out with you guys. Like, it's a great excuse to get away and chill out and focus on reflecting, like you said.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for catching up.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Thanks for watching. We hope you've been enjoying the relay. If you like what you're seeing and you want us to do more, please hit subscribe and hit that like. Stay tuned for future episodes. And if you have any suggestions about what you'd like to see more of us talk about, we'd like to hear from you.